in March, there is no next game unless you win that first one. So it's really all about focusing all of your attentions, all of your energies into winning the game you have in front of you. In the ACC tournament, if you win the first game, whoever you have to play in the next round, you've already played them. So hopefully you would not have to make a lot of changes to play him the next time around. In the NCAA tournament, you have very little time to prepare. And that is the big difference. When you play in the first round, you have a couple of days to prepare for them. And it's got to be very, very quick because you're traveling. But if you win on Thursday, you play on Saturday, you better be prepared to play against any team, anywhere, at any time. And what we've used as our expression, it doesn't matter who we play or where we play. What does matter is how we play. And if we execute our game plan better than they execute their game plan, then we have a great chance of winning.
And how well equipped do you think this team is particularly?
I think it's really, really well equipped because of the number of diverse teams we have in this league, from a Syracuse who plays all zone to a Florida State who pressures everywhere, to a Louisville that's a combination of press and zone, to a team like Virginia that packs it in. Just a multitude of preparations, and I think it prepares you very well for the NCAA tournament and the ACC tournament.
Hey, Coach, Dave Vaughn said that he sort of felt you guys have been the underdogs pretty much all year, and now you're finally getting some recognition, at least a little bit of recognition. The upward trend, I mean, it's pretty obvious. You know, this team's been getting better and better and better and better. Did you notice at any point them sort of turning a corner, or has it just been that steady progression? You know, was there one game you said, okay, now they're getting it, or?
Well, I thought our preparation and execution of the game plan at NC State was a real turning point for us because we needed our young big guys, Dewan and Booker in particular, Anthony Lawrence, those guys to step up and make a more significant contribution. They were already playing pretty good, but for us to take a step forward, we need him to play even better. And Anthony Lawrence and Abuka Zundu both had career highs against NC State. So it changed our course from being a team that maybe lacked a little confidence to a team that was confident that they could play. Because despite NC State's record in league play, they are an extremely talented team, and they have a very nice home court advantage. So I thought that was a real confidence booster for us.
What have you seen from Jaquan in the last couple of games, and what are some things to maybe help him down?
Well, I think it's been a big challenge for him to come in off the bench and make some adjustments. I'm going to be meeting with him and with the team to talk about our game preparation for Florida State, because we need him to play at a very high level, like he's very capable of doing.
Coach, speaking of needing, is FSU the type of game you need right now, considering you're unbeaten at home as you go into the ACC tournament? I know you mentioned some of the other teams you played already.
Well, we were talking this morning as a staff about the 3 games this weekend that are the teams that are right now 1 through 6 in the standings: Carolina and Duke, Louisville and Notre Dame, Miami and Florida State. So there's a great impact on each of the outcomes of those games to determine your seed. And we want to just focus on Florida State and the problems they present and see if we can deal with them better than we did in the first meeting.
Do you see
Well, they are the same team. They play the same way. That they haven't really changed strategy at all. They play 10 or 12 guys. They keep their starters well rested. They pressure the ball everywhere. Against us at home here, they played some zone, 2-3 zone. We started a smaller group against them. We started Bruce Brown, Jaquan Newton, Davon Reed, Anthony Lawrence, and Kamari Murphy, and they played pretty darn well in the first half. We brought Abuka Zundu, Dewan Ewell, and DJ Vasilovich off the bench, and they did a nice job. So there's a lot of things for us to consider right now, and we have 2 full days to prepare for them. We've taken 2 days off to rest, and I thought that was significant because we did not return from Blacksburg, Virginia, till 4 o'clock in the morning. So we needed a couple of days to recover from such a long trip, especially when you consider that we'd been on the road already at Virginia, which was a long trip and a late return.
Is it 2 days? Is that uncommon for you during the season?
Well, it is when you play in the middle of the weekend on Saturday. So normally you take Sunday off, practice Monday, Tuesday, play Wednesday, practice Thursday, Friday, play Saturday. But when you play Saturday, Monday, there's a very short turnaround, and I don't know if you're aware, we didn't get a chance to practice on Sunday. Our our plane had mechanical difficulty. We sat on the runway from 1 o'clock till, actually from 12:30 till 4. And then when we got to Roanoke, we had a bus to Blacksburg. And by the time we got there, our practice time had already come and gone, and Virginia Tech then was going to practice that night. So we couldn't get on the court at all. So it was basically just a walkthrough on Monday and then play the game. And with so little preparation, I thought we played very well. We had a couple of open court situations that I thought we didn't complete, and Virginia Tech did a very good job of disrupting us. Justin Robinson made a very good play on a Bruce Brown drive. We missed a layup. We missed the follow-up on that layup. And instead of then being ahead, we were behind. And that makes all the difference in the world in the last 5 minutes of a game. If you're up 3 or 4 or down 3 or 4.
You've got so many young players on this team. What would it mean for this program going forward to make some noise in March?
We're planning on it. I think this team is really made great strides and can be a very tough opponent for anyone in the field. The biggest thing is, if we are invited as an at-large team, I'm not anticipating us being as seated as highly as we've been the last 2 times when we made the Sweet 16. So if you're not seated in the say top 4 or 5, you know if you're the lower seed, you're playing against a very strong opponent right from the get-go. Whereas in 2013, playing Pacific, we were a heavy favorite, and then playing Buffalo, we were also a heavy favorite. This time we'll be probably an underdog again if we're fortunate enough to be invited. And I do believe we are a very strong candidate for an at-large bid. I believe the league deserves at least 10 bids after watching what Wake Forest did last night. I think they're an outstanding offensive team. They have weapons everywhere. You see what Syracuse was able to do, beating Duke. The league is about as good as any conference has ever been in this country, since I can ever remember.
So you speak more on that, why do you believe that? Why you said this for a while now, because we feel so strongly about the conference, how good it is. What makes it so good?
Well, I have a radio show once a week, and on the show last night, Joe Zagacki, our play-by-play guy, asked me about the Wake Forest-Louisville game. And I think Louisville is a complete team that has a legitimate chance of winning the national championship. Yet I picked Wake Forest to win the game. And he asked me why. I said, because Wake Forest can really score the ball. And John Collins is a NBA player. And their guards at home specifically play at a very high level. And if Mitiglu plays well, they're a hard team to beat. And everything I thought they were capable of doing, they did last night, and they beat a team like Louisville, who I anticipate being maybe a number 1 or a number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. But we have so many teams. If you look at the history from last year, the year before, and the year before that, I believe last year we had 6 of the Sweet 16. I believe it was 6 of the Sweet 16 last season, 4 of the Elite 8, and 2 teams in the Final Four. And the funny thing about that is, of the 4 teams that made the Elite 8, they had to match up against another ACC team. So I think Carolina beat Notre Dame, and I believe Syracuse beat Virginia. So even in the NCAA tournament, to eliminate a ACC team, it took another ACC team to do it.
You've been involved in some lower scoring games here recently. Is that better getting into that style? Is that a factor in the postseason?
Well, it can be. But one of the things, like when we played Virginia at Virginia, I turned to my staff. I think I've told you this before. Turned to my staff. I said, this reminds me of our George Mason Wilmington game. We beat Wilmington 35-33 in the championship. And then in the first round of the NCAAs, we played Maryland. We scored 81 points. The familiarity you have with each other impacts the game tremendously. That's why in the NCAA tournament, I think our league is so good, because it's hard to just prepare for us in a day or two. Not just us, but I mean every team in this league. You got to have some familiarity.
You can probably appreciate Michael Ojo's development from afar as much as anybody, banging heads with him for 5 years, and this may be your last time facing him. What would you say about that?
I would say he's destined to play in the NBA one day. I don't know if it'll be immediately. He might have to go to the D League or Europe, but a guy who has made as much progress as he has and offers you a very specific set of physical characteristics, there's always a place for a guy like that.
He's come a long way, hasn't he?
You see the percentage he's shooting from the free throw line?
No.
It's like 87% in league play. Like, what?
That's improvement.
You know, if that's Davon Reed or Luke Kennard or somebody like that, but a guy 7'1", over 300 pounds,